method is to record a swath of the seafloor of a known distance and width, and we try to operate at a certain speed so it's consistent when you're comparing transect to transect and length traveled. And then we can make comparisons between habitats and among the same similar habitat types. I don't know if that answered the question, but hopefully it shows it's a little different than mapping using remote sensing versus actually looking at quantities and the quality of the habitat using video.
Yeah, just to build on that, if you tuned in prior to Tuesday evening, you might have seen that the ship was doing mapping, and like Erica just said, that is remote sensing. So no ROV is in the water at that time. So this is on this cruise, both methodologies have been employed to gain information. And during the time, in the next days, if we run into bad weather and we're not able to put the ROV in the water, we, the chief scientist will look into whether the weather is good enough to do some of that mapping again, just so that we're able to do something. And that is important information for us as well. There are times when the sea surface state is poor enough that mapping is also not possible because you end up with a lot of patchy data. So some information comes through and some doesn't, which isn't as useful as all good data. Rennie, you mentioned that there might be some mapping tonight. Do you want to add anything to what we've been talking about? You have a little more direct experience.
No, that was actually a really good summary. Thank you for that. But I believe, although a lot of this area has been mapped, we might look for some gaps in the data on the transit. And we won't be doing any surveying. We're just going directly into Monterey Bay to pick up Chad King, a scientist for Monterey Bay. But yeah, I think we'll just be firing it up and seeing if there's any gaps along the way or any areas where that have been mapped, but maybe, like you were mentioning, maybe in poor weather or something like that, so the data is a bit rough. But we did a bit of mapping on the way down, so we've been processing that and preparing all of our products that we send to just as a cruise archive, but also to R2R, which is Rolling Deck to Repository, and it's kind of a repository of oceanographic vessel scientific data, and then from there, data is pulled into national repositories like NCEI, which is National Center for Environmental Information, and I think that's what that stands for, and that we have a national repository of bathymetric data that anyone can go access and process and interpret.
Got a two-part fish question for you, Erica. You up for it?
I'll try.
All right. So the first question is there a real fish called a vampire fish? And the second question, which I just had to ask you, is from the Netherlands, wondering why we haven't seen too many grenadiers for a little while. Is it too shallow for them?
It's not too shallow, but it's not the most common place they would be. It would be a little deeper. I too am surprised, but yeah, I think we'd see them a little deeper. The vampire fish, I'm not familiar with the name, but I just Googled it, and there is something in the freshwater environment called the vampire fish. It's a nickname for the payara, not the piranha. Well, maybe. It's in the Amazon basin. So I have never heard of a vampire fish in the marine environment.
There is a vampire squid.
How about yeah, I was gonna say, how about a vampire squid?
Yes, we do have vampire squid. They're typically in the deep mid-water. We might see one over Davidson Seamount. I wouldn't suspect to see one here, but they are found in the Monterey Bay. So yeah, keep your eye out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Looks like we may have both a long spine and short spine thorny heads that we just passed over. The long spine is smaller and has the third spine on the dorsal fin is significantly longer. We can't always quite tell. There's size overlap, and also they don't always have that fin up. So we don't always call it two species, but sometimes when they raise that their fin up, then we can tell. More whelk in this area.
One more thing to add to the thorny head discussion. When they are quite young and smaller, the pectoral fin rays will appear very black in the long spine thorny head. So if we see some small ones and those pectoral fin rays are super black, the fins coming off the side, those tend to be the long spine thorny head. So we'll try and test our identification skills here if we see one.
We have another technical question for our ROV team. Someone was wondering, what's the diameter on the slurper? Maybe give us a quick summary of what the slurper is.
It's an 1.5 inch nozzle, and it's powered by just what you would call a trash pump. So it sucks water into the jars through a media that the scientists determine. Basically, we have none, which are holes about 1/2 inch, and then a fine, coarse, and really fine media. And that determines how big of whatever can go through the jar. For example, when we're doing bacterial mat, they use a coarse media because the bacterial mat's kind of like strands, and it tends to stick to that. When they're doing something they want to get DNA from, they'll use a fine, super fine mesh, which is kind of similar to probably to a lady's pantyhose. The coarse mesh, probably more like cheesecloth.
That's great. Thank you so much. And we also have some questions around water temperature. Is there a place where the public can see what the water temperature is? And if not, do we have a number sort of where we're at now and maybe?
Yeah, but we're still on transect. Actually, we just finished our transect. Sorry to interrupt there. We'll mark that. 150 meters.
Thank you.
So we are currently at a depth of 711 meters, and the temperature in the water around Hercules is 4.7 degrees Celsius. And I don't believe, well, let's see if that is visible on the quad. It does not look like that. Information is available via the video feed for the public.
So we can be in an exploratory mode as we make our way to our next waypoint. So if any scientists want to take a closer look at something and their pilots are able to do so, let's do it. It's been a relatively simple habitat out here. There's not a lot of structure, a lot of soft sediment, and fishes on the seafloor.
So we'll just continue to go east here. Just keep an eye on there's that target. That's what I was looking at up there. I was wondering what it was. It was a rock. There's not much out here. We picked that out of nothingness from, let's say, 30 meters out.
Well, if there's a rock, we'll probably want to look at it.
Yeah.
So get ready.
See if there's anything on it. It's surprisingly devoid of anything too flashy. Maybe some circulids or something.
That looks like it could be
Worth the zoom, maybe.
Another man-made object we don't want to touch.
Ah, it is.
yeah, a little behind.
So going back to that question about water temperature, I'm looking at nautiluslive.org on the homepage. Right next to the video feed, there is some live data, which has Hercules depth, Argus depth, and water temperature.
Awesome, thanks for that.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Thank you. I'm there right now, and it's right there.
So Jan thinks that object was perhaps a crab pot buoy.
Hmm.
And about 2 hours ago, we saw another structure on the seafloor, and Tom Leidig seemed to think it might have been a scuba tank with the rubber boot on the end of it.
Did look
which makes
like
sense.
a tank.
Yeah, some sort of tank.
We have Abigail Powell joining us on Science Chat, and she commented that the dovers are so cool. They could be aggregating to spawn. We know that other flatfish species do that. So thank you, Abigail. We were thinking the same thing. It's a little bit earlier than the known season for them in this area, but it could be. She also notes that different species have different mating rituals. They generally release gametes during a spawning rise when they swim off the bottom, but have different types of courtship beforehand. So thanks for joining in.
So in addition to those depths and water temperature, you can also see the latest observations, which I believe are some of the notes that Taylor Ann is entering. Kind of see what type of things she's noting. It runs through a list of the most recent ones.
So I'm looking on the NOAA Fisheries website for the biology of the Dover sole. And it says Dover sole eggs are fertilized externally, and they are found in the upper part of the water column. Once they hatch, the larvae will settle into deeper water and then travel inshore to find suitable nursery areas. Once the larvae settle to the bottom after a year of living in the upper water column, but sometimes they remain in the water column for 2 years. And the spawning season off the Pacific coast up in the Gulf of Alaska, it occurs from January to August, off Oregon from November to April, and in Puget Sound from January to March. I think earlier I said off California, let's see, in Central California occurs from December to May. So we may be a little early for that, but who knows what the conditions are. It might be good for them now, or they're just setting up shop, getting ready.
So we've done a great job on this dive capturing the transects and the different habitats that we need. So as Erica mentioned, we are kind of in exploratory mode. Any scientists want to take a look? Any of our scientists on chat want to take a look at anything? Let us know. We will just kind of keep cruising along.
Oh, predation event.
What do you see?
That crab tried to get at the sole.
Took a bite out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're seeing the lag. Yeah, I'm just seeing it now. The shore crew are giving me a 2-second lag.
Yeah.
Sorry to spoil it for you.
No, it's good that we knew what to look for. Seemed like the Dover sole was swimming into an area the crab didn't want him to come in.
The one-armed bandit there.
Yeah. Drama of the high seas, the low seas.
It's gonna have
Make it a round
go.
2 here.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like the crab's squaring up.
Yeah, we got backup. Yeah. Squad.
Yeah, we got backup.
Oh.
Another Dover sole coming in.
Oh.
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 Going in.
Tides have turned.
Interesting.
He's standing up for his friend.
Don't you pick on my
Well,
brother.
Yeah, stay away from
Big
my
brute.
buddy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Kaboom. On an earlier dive, we had seen a couple of crabs attached to each other. And what I understand is that the male will latch onto the female and wait for her to molt. And then they will reproduce. So he may be hanging on for a while, because once you found a mate in the deep sea, you want to keep close and get ready for the right timing to reproduce.
We have some questions about upcoming exploration of the octopus garden and of the whale fall. People
Yes.
wondering if we're going back there this year.
Yes, we are. We're going to try and head there tomorrow evening. After 4 o'clock, we will launch a new dive. So we may be there in the wee hours of Friday night, early Saturday morning. We will be revisiting the octocone and the whale fall. So we're going to try and capture some imagery and see if the octopus are still there, see what stage the eggs are in, if they're still nesting or brooding their eggs. And then, yeah, revisit the whale fall and see what has changed since the last time we visited it. So definitely tune in tomorrow night and into Saturday. We'll be in the water, I think, until Sunday morning. So it's a long time to get an opportunity to check out what we'll be doing down there.
Great, thank you, Erica.
We were trying to see if that would help with the high frequency sound when the
Help with the what?
help with the high frequency sound when the Argus pilot touches the winch. Yeah, I hear it. Do you hear it?
How about now?
That helps, I think.
We should really just insulate that pole. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
we have
as
a glove.
Dan's doing
That's
right
what the
now.
rubber gloves for.
I don't
That's
think it's
better.
coming through to shore this time.
Look, Bobby Argus is on the winch now.
Bobby Argus on the way. We still got to put that hand back up on the winch gauges. Where's Gabby when you need her?
I don't know what happened to the hand. Man, it ain't coming off there now.
Yeah, well, when you grab the top, it doesn't help.
Huh?
When you grab the top.
You can hear it when
Yeah,
I grab it?
Yeah.
Oh. I can't hear it, but I got the music back. That's better that way?
It's better.
Definitely less of a shocking experience.
What do you think, Jake? Is it better?
I don't hear it. So, a little bit.
So can you feel it when you touch it too?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Shocks the shit out of you.
Well, why didn't we do this?
So do a lot of things in here. The manipulator,
Yeah.
joy box.
Need a ground strap on it.
Now touch the top with your hand, and then touch the mouse or something with your left hand.
What's that?
Touch the mouse with your left hand. Yeah.
Kind of a strange game of Twister you guys playing over there.
Sorry, we're
Need to change that for a trackball. So we got 2 track.
Don't mind us. I'm in here.
No more track balls.
You don't like trackballs?
No, not a fan.
Really?
We had 2 of them over here at the nav station, but then it turns out when you're mapping, it's at high speed in the van, when it's like shaking, you can't do anything. It's like popping around the screen.
With the trackball?
I'm sure if I use
Yeah.
it more, I wouldn't mind it. But
You guys are on glue. Look at any high-end DP bridge. It's all trackballs.
No, I prefer them when we're slow, but when we're fast and we're vibrating, this van vibrates too much to make them useful.
the only time I ever use them is out here, so.
What do you use for SolidWorks?
Just the normal mouse.
You don't have one of the 3D mice?
No. It's just what I've always used.
Must be going uphill now. When did that happen?
We are going, yeah, kind of along contour-ish, maybe uphill a bit.
2 minutes to notice that. 19, 20, 21 to do today. Oh,
Well,
4 minutes.
It's only a few meters.
Rennie, is there anything on sonar at all?
I'm not seeing anything beyond this this kind of landscape. We are 130 meters from the end of our last transect, and we are, let's see, 275 meters from the waypoint 2W. So plan on going east for a bit, and then we'll end up going a bit southeast to follow that contour down to W.
Thanks for that. That crab looks like it might be eating itself something. Has the appropriate number of legs and arms, which is not all that common. Must be a tough life.
Do we still have a hitchhiker? Or did he disappear?
I don't know.
Yeah,
May have crawled to a different position. I don't know.
Something swimming over us. Oh, look like maybe a cat shark.
I think you're
A
right.
shark at least. Maybe it'll come back.
Seeing that this is a pretty constant environment and there's not a whole lot to collect, I suggest we just do another transect before the shift changes. So whenever that feels good to Rennie and the pilots, we'll just get one more in. It's good to have more than not enough. So
If y'all are good with that,
Good.
we'll keep going east. So Taylor Ann, we'll mark this.
Yep. That is transect number 15.
Let's do a quick reset here.
Careful of hitting that down one more than once. Stack them up, it'll slam you in the mud. That's why it set at 2. If you set it at half, the
Yeah.
little thrusters can't compensate for the high down velocity.
Bridge nav.
Depends on how we're ballasted too, but we're ballasted pretty
Add
good.
one more step, 150 meters east. Thank you.
So just like the momentum of multiple steps.
Yeah, it's better
bring
to do
us down.
baby steps because it's a PID loop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you give it a
You know,
big,
yeah. It'll go,
if you give it a big error, it
You're a
has
bit
big
behind.
overshoot.
You're under Argus. So
Okay.
we can start at a, yeah, well, this is the start. So you'll just be a little bit fast as you come up. Not too fast. And then yeah, that works.
So we have started our 15th transect for this dive. Made great progress collecting these transects. We passed over one. Go ahead.
I was just saying, it's better to have more to choose from if we have the opportunity. We didn't need this many transects, but depending on the quality of our transects, the video analyzer may choose to use some over others. But today, I think it's been pretty standard. It's been great. So thanks to the pilots and the navigator for getting our work done.
So we continue to see a few Dover sole, though the numbers have gone down a lot from the past large aggregations. Seeing some thorny head rockfish, the reddish one. A couple of sea pens, which are related to coral. It might have been umbellella. Had one pink urchin, which we have not been seeing. Yeah, a few minutes ago. It was on effort.
suppose the same could be achieved on the winch by only touching the plastic ball on the top.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. Just touch the
Yeah.
plastic top or there's like the rubber bottom. You can kind of hold on to that.
Did there used to be foam on that top bracket?
What's that?
Did there used to be a piece of foam over the top of that handle?
On here?
Rubber?
Yeah, like last year, I mean,
Probably.
could help. But it's funny, even if you lean your leg into it.
I need to
Look at that frequency.
keep forgetting on the, I'll put it on the board to check the,
Oh, I'm not
it's probably not a ground to the box. It's unshielded cable too, it's picking up some noise from it's running on the floor behind the consoles.
I don't think I noticed it in the previous seasons, but now I've got this new headset,
What's the new cable?
which just sounds a lot, it's just a lot more clear, and I can
Yeah.
get that frequency.
That's a different cable too. The old one is
Oh.
probably a shielded Dynacon cable.
Oh, I see, yeah,
This one's just a cable,
Gotcha.
no shielding.
gotcha.
And those racks are super noisy. They put your Bluetooth there or your Wi-Fi, it kills it.
Thanks, everyone. This is Justin Hull. I'm going to sign off, and Amity Wood's going to be coming on in my place. So I'm going to be signing off on V-Link. Really appreciate everyone, especially helping with all those questions from the public. Be well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Justin.
It was great to have
Bye-bye.
you.
What?
It's really fun to have input from the public. We've been missing it.
Yeah, it shows where their interests are. Some things we forget about, and it's great to get that feedback from them. So keep them coming in.
Yeah, please do. If you haven't heard an explanation for something, know that we've been sitting here for 4 hours and we may feel like we've explained something just moments before, but it's been a long time. So do poke us. Amity will be joining shortly, I believe, participating in that same capacity, sharing questions with us. As usual, we have a steady flurry of marine snow drifting down from surface waters or from the water column. This is bringing nutrients, these are nutrients settling down to the seafloor bottom, providing food for our filter feeders, suspension feeders.
Haven't seen any dope shoal for a little while.
Yeah.
We're at 721 meters.
Had a few strands of phyllospadix, seagrass. Would not grow around here, but has filtered down through the water column. Was that an eel pout on the left side?
Yes.
Hmm?
Sea pen.
We're going to be going upslope a little bit, so you might want to, yeah.
Just saw that.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't letting you know. Just gently upslope.
So just a reminder that tomorrow we are not going to be diving until about roughly 9 p.m. We're going to be picking up Chad from shore. The ship is going to be picking up Chad from shore and transiting out to Davidson Seamount.
He has been going under a 2-week quarantine period so he can safely board the ship. And I believe he's been tested for COVID. So we need to do that to ensure the safety of everyone on board the ship. So Emily Wood will be joining us soon. She is the education
I think I just joined you. Can you hear me?
Sanctuary. Yes, we can. And I was just giving a
Great.
brief introduction, but I'll let you do that for yourself.
Wonderful. Thanks, Erica. Yeah, I've been enjoying checking out the cruise today. Some good stuff going on. I get the pleasure of working with Erica at Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. I'm the education coordinator, and from what I've heard so far, I have some pretty big shoes to fill with Justin's absence here. So I will do my best.
You'll do great. We are in the middle of a transect. We'll be ending it sometime soon. But in the meantime, we're curious if you're going to be looking at questions from the public.
Yeah, I'll do my best. Definitely getting some good comments coming in. I'm gonna take a look around, and I'll get back with you with a couple of questions.
Great, make it easy.
Oh, you like the hard ones. I know you do. You like the marine mammal questions. I know you do.
Right. I'll get my Google Web ready.
Yeah, I can take those.
Good. Or the flatfish haven't left us yet.
Nor have the hagfish.
They just keep hanging around. Here's a pretty good question coming in, and I think this will actually apply to some future questions as we get on deeper dives during this expedition. But what adaptations do the animals have to the pressure and low oxygen down there? And I know, Erica, you've talked about the oxygen minimum zone. As we go deeper, that story changes a little bit, but do you want to talk just kind of about some general adaptations that these deep sea animals?
If we could just stand by on that for 1 second. This is the end of the transect here. We can mark that. H1824 T15E, and then I will change course. So we're going to go 120.
Thank you. Just record that for a second.
Bridge nav.
I will let Erica.
Can we
answer that
change
once
course
she's
to
ready.
120, 100-meter step? Thank you.
But I will point out right now
Yeah.
that the oxygen saturation is 0.79%. So a couple of days ago, it was more like 2%. So take it away, Erica.
Yeah, so in the deep sea, it is colder and darker, very dark, pitch dark, and the pressure is very high. So animals will reduce their visual capabilities in terms of natural light. Their bodies may be flabbier and their bones may be more thin and brittle, and they will reduce their metabolism so that they can save their energy for reproduction and feeding and for searching for food. So they tend to live longer. They tend to be slower growers. And because of the darkness, some of them have adapted to create their own light, bioluminescent light, to either hide themselves from predators. There are also animals that emit light to find their mate. They may have a special signature of the light patterns they have to find a specific mate. And some of the animals, their bellies may be lined with a very dark pigment. So when they do eat an animal that bioluminesces, a predator won't be able to find them. You wouldn't want a bioluminescent animal to be flashing light in their stomachs and then be found by some other predator. So they have lots of different predators to deal with, the different adaptations to deal with the pressure, the low light conditions, the low metabolism needs when you're in the deep, and the enormous pressures in the deep sea. A lot of fishes will lack a swim bladder in the deep. They don't need to be moving up and down in the water column. They remain at the bottom. Instead of having air in their bladders, they may have more oily tissues to be able to maintain their neutral buoyancy at depth. So lots of different things. It's quite amazing, the adaptations of deep sea fish compared to their shallow relatives.
We have a correction on Science Chat. So I mentioned that the launch time for the Davidson dive tomorrow was 9 p.m., but in fact that was an old timing, and right now it is currently set for around 4 p.m. So quite a bit earlier. So feel free to tune in if weather delays occur, that will be noted, and updated launch time will be noted on Nautilus Live. And in preparation for shift change coming up, I am going to step off the link, but support science chat. So thanks all for joining us today. It's been a great dive.
Thank you, Kirsten. So we are off transect in exploratory mode, and we'll stay in this mode until a shift change. So if there's anything the scientist is sure interested in looking at, let us know. We'll keep our eyes out for any of the requested specimens for collection.
Yeah, I know we've been getting a lot of great information about transects and why we do transects. What do we use transects for? How do we characterize the habitat that we're exploring? So I really appreciate that she's giving a lot of background information to the audience about that. Is this the last transect that we have planned for
This is
dive?
definitely the last one. This is definitely the last one for the shift. If we come into, we have a lot of soft bottom habitat transects collected already. We're in good shape with that. If we do encounter any hard bottom habitats, we will definitely want to get some transects. So maybe in the next 4 to 6 hours, if we get any hard bottom, we'll definitely want to do some of those.
Okay.
There's a pink urchin.
Hey, Erica, I know you mentioned that we might be running into a little bit different kind of a benthic habitat. Can you talk a little bit about what we've been seeing for the last couple of hours with this particular substrate? What is it mostly kind of made of that we know about? And are there many organisms that are burrowing within this habitat?
Yeah, I'll try to answer that. Check my message in science chat as well for you, Amity. I'm not a geologist, but so far we have been looking at primarily over the last 4 hours, soft bottom habitat. In the early part of the dive, we learned that it was very shallow sediment layer. But there are some burrowing holes. So there are organisms burrowing in the mud or the soft sediment. You might be able to pick some of those holes up on your video feed. Yeah, I don't know what the mud or the sediment is composed of. But yeah, so far it's just been a soft sediment, perhaps a shallow veneer of sediment on a harder bottom. And we did collect a core, a sediment core early on. So we'll learn through post-processing what sort of organisms are occupying that sediment layer. It's mostly probably composed of worms, polychaete worms. There could be a boring clam or a burrowing clam, excuse me. Yeah, so worms tend to be burrowers in the mud. There could be many, many, many species in just a 5 centimeter deep core. Deeper.
Just to check in on shore, so we're just approaching 2W. We have a watch change coming up. So looks like we've got plenty of time to get to 2X, so I'm not sure if you want to fill in anything in between there, going up and down slopes or what have you, or explore this south slope on the other side. But for now, I'll kind of pause at 2W and we decide what.
That's good. I'll let the next watch.
Oh, just cut out.
We've lost your audio, Erica.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just curious what the distance is between the two waypoints, 2W and 2X.
That is about 1 kilometer.
Okay, so you have a lot of time to cover that relatively short distance.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, when the
Could
next shift comes on, they may want to do some crabbing or something.
Yeah, they could even get to 2X and come around the horn and go explore the other slope on the other side of this canyon here.
Okay, Jan is
Or
going to
further
ask. Jan's going to ask our geologist on shore for some additional waypoints east of 2X. So hopefully we'll find that information for the next shift. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks for looking ahead.
Yeah, I'll pass that along. Ship is now, it's still moving, but it'll be coming to a stop soon. So we can, I'm not really sure if they want to continue on to X or if they're going to want to explore around here now that we have extra time. So I'll pause this last 5 minutes here. We can explore around what our tether gives us. But it's still moving a bit.
Thank you. So Amity, will you be on for the next couple hours with the next shift? I think so.
Yeah, I'd love to stay on and see what's coming up.
Great.
And so who's our next side chairs coming in? I know Chad's coming in.
Yeah, Chad and Gary.
Awesome.
Still get a little feedback from your line. Are you sure your video feed is muted? Any sort of video feed should mute.
I think we're settled out here, so you can kind of just explore around, like leash your tether.
All right, I'll do a little test here. How does that sound? A little bit better?
Let me speak and then I'll be able to tell if I can hear feedback. Yeah, I'm still hearing feedback.
Hello, is anyone home?
Yes.
Hey, Chad.
So Chad, you and I can go on Nautilus.
Okay, will
Feed.
do.
Nice.
Radio chair doing a watch change. Nice watch, everyone. Nice flying, Jake.
Hey.